Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ. Today we are going to have a very interesting discussion about the oath keepers from United States of America. Now these oath keepers have come into limelight because of a recent indictment with the insurrection incident that took place on January 6th. There was an attempt to seize the Capitol Hill, right? We all know about that. And now recently an organization has been connected with that particular incident. So we're going to talk about these oath keeper institution or organization, how it developed, what is their intention, what are their activities, and why are they so dangerous? Why are they considered very dangerous? Let's begin our discussion. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on the ID Rahul Sai 222. I am your friend Rahul Saigankar. And if you have any doubts or queries, you can directly message me on Instagram. Apart from that, StudyIQ has got a smart course for you for UPSC 2021. For more information, please download the app. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, StudyIQ. Right, let's first talk about the news. As I told you, recently in January 2021, a federal court from the District of Columbia has indicted 3 individuals with a far-right paramilitary organization known as Oath Keepers. And these Oath Keepers, they describe themselves as what? They describe themselves as guardians of the Republic. Now, these 3 were indicted for conspiring to obstruct the Congress on January 6, 2021. We all know that there was an attempt to seize the Capitol Hill, and we have all seen the graphics, right? The violence in United States. There were a lot of question marks over the democracy of United States itself after this particular incident. Now, who were these 3 individuals? These 3 individuals were Jessica Mary Watkins, Donovan Ray Crowell, and Thomas Caldwell. All 3 of them have been prominently connected with the Oath Keepers organization. They have been leaders of these Oath Keepers organization. Now, remember that there are many others who were arrested in this Capitol Hill siege, but this was the first kind of indictment where there was an involvement of a known organization has been highlighted, and that is the Oath Keepers. And that is why these Oath Keepers have again hit the limelight. Now, let's look at the history of Oath Keepers. Who are these Oath Keepers? Because it's a very interesting organization. And again, if you're preparing for some competitive exam, try to think of similar kind of organizations in different countries, because it's a very good exercise for you. You'll get so many examples, and probably one way you can connect it to India is you can talk about left-wing extremism, although I wouldn't directly compare these two, but very similar kind of organization, the militia organizations who use force, right? So who are these Oath Keepers? These Oath Keepers, they go with the website oathkeepers.org, and they call themselves the Guardians of the Republic. Now, they are American far-right, remember, anti-government or anti-establishment militia organizations, right? Now, this organization is composed of former military people, former police personnel, former first responders, that is firemen, etc. And what do they basically want? They want to fulfill the pledge that they had taken when they went into duty, right? What was that pledge? That pledge was to support and to defend the Constitution of United States of America against all enemies. Now, that enemy may be foreign enemy. If they were military, they were fighting with a foreign enemy, but they also want to defend it against domestic enemy. Now, who is this domestic enemy? For them, this domestic enemy is predominantly government. Now, when this organization started, it was not started in Washington, D.C., right? It was a very interesting development. It was started by a lawyer by name Elmer Stewart Rhodes, and this is Elmer Stewart Rhodes. It was started way back in 2009 in Montana. Now, Stewart is highly graduated. He's graduated from Yale Law School. He is also a former Army paratrooper. And it is said that way back in 2016 itself, this Oath Keepers organization had more than 30,000 members, right? But its creation is very interesting. Now, when it was created, it's mostly created around the perception that the federal government is the main enemy. Remember, federal government is the main enemy. In fact, I wouldn't say federal per se, but in general, they're anti-establishment, anti-state government, anti-federal government. They say that federal government is more and more tyrannical, and they say that it is the federal government, or it is in general the government, which poses the greatest threat to all the Americans every day, right? So their entire thought process or their entire organization is based on some conspiracies. So they talk about conspiracies, they talk about the presence of a deep state, they talk about the involvement of the government officials in each and everything. In fact, I'll just talk about one of the conspiracies in the upcoming slides. And their prime target was Hillary Clinton way back in 2016, when they were completely anti-Hillary Clinton. So that is why perhaps Donald Trump did support the Oath Keepers organization. When the Capitol Hill siege incident took place, Donald Trump described these people as patriots. Now, in fact, if you look at Anti-Defamation League report, you will get a lot of insights into this Oath Keeper. They describe them as anti-government extremist recruiting military and police, right? So let's look at these Oath Keepers and why they are so active. Now, in the last year or so, Oath Keepers have been very active. The main reason behind this is, I would say, US election, because in 2016 also they had supported Donald Trump, and this time also they had supported Donald Trump, and voter fraud has been a high talking agenda everywhere in and around the United States election, isn't it? Apart from that, this entire COVID-19, in fact, Oath Keepers do believe in one of the conspiracy around COVID-19 also. Now, why are they so active? The main reason is right-wing media organizations. There are many right-wing media organizations, many platforms, the radio shows, right, television shows, which believe or which show their conspiracy theories, which talk about their false narratives, and they have been promoting Oath Keepers. Let me just give you example of one of the conspiracy theory. Now, recently, Elmer Rhodes was called on one of the shows where he gave one of his ideas, where he said that there is an alternate reality. He said that Joe Biden is a pawn for the Chinese communists. And that is why he does not support the presidency of Joe Biden. That is why they supported Donald Trump. So this is one of the conspiracy. They believe that Joe Biden is simply an agent of Chinese Communist Party, right? Now, based on these conspiracies, based on these false narratives, they are becoming more and more famous. In fact, if you look at the activities of these Oath Keepers, they have been very, very prominent, as you saw on January 6th, the Capitol Hill siege. But before that also, they have been very active against the federal authorities especially. Way back in 2010, one of the Oath Keepers, Daniel Knight Hayden, was indicted when he threatened Oklahoma government officials on Twitter. He was sentenced to 8 months. In 2014, the armed Oath Keepers, they went on the Bundy Ranch. Bundy Ranch standoff is very, very prominent. In Bundy Ranch, federal agents were seizing cattle for illegal grazing, and there a standoff did happen between Oath Keepers and the federal agents, right? Apart from that, in 2015, the Oath Keepers attended 2 disputes between gold miners and federal authorities trying to resolve the issue. In fact, one of the biggest developments that these Oath Keepers did was in 2016. In 2016 general elections, on their website, in an article, they posted that if at all Hillary Clinton wins the 2016 United States elections, then the result will probably be a civil war in United States. Now, this was proclaimed on the Oath Keepers website itself. In 2019, they did a very strange thing. In 2019, since the Oath Keepers are already anti-climate change, Oregon Governor Kate Brown had ordered to bring Republican legislators who were in hiding to vote for a pro-climate change law. Now, over that, the Oath Keepers had threatened Oregon Governor that there would be a civil war in Oregon, right? A very, very interesting development. And again, now we already saw the Capitol Hill siege. The question is that what makes this Oath Keeper very dangerous, or is this Oath Keeper only one organization? Now, if we look at the United States government, the federal agencies, they have been very, very active. They continuously surveil for these kind of things. And in 2020, they tracked around 838 hate groups, which basically hate the federal government and the state governments. And out of which, Oath Keeper is considered as very, very prominent. Now, what makes this Oath Keeper very prominent, or I would say very dangerous, is the composition of Oath Keepers. Now, if you look at the recruitment of Oath Keepers, they are influencing former military people, former armed veterans, firefighters, former police. So these people are very well trained, right? They are also armed to kill, right? They are trained to kill the, I would say, enemies in the foreign land, or they are trained to maintain the law and order. And if these people are joining Oath Keepers, where they say that we have to defend the oath And what oath did we take? We took the oath to support and defend the Constitution of United States of America. The false narrative is that it is against foreign and domestic also, and this domestic is based on many of the conspiracy theories and false narratives, and that is why this group becomes very, very dangerous, especially because of its composition. And over 30,000 people, imagine over 30,000 people who are armed veterans, military veterans, former police officers, former firefighters, who are well equipped with the ways of fighting, with the ways of I would say weapons, etc. Just imagine what kind of mayhem they can create. So it is very, very interesting how the United States government is going to control or is going to take care of this Oath Keepers organization. But nonetheless, Oath Keepers have been very prominent, and probably after Trump's loss, they might become more and more active, creating more false narratives and creating more conspiracy theories regarding the Joe Biden administration. So it's going to be very, very interesting development. If anything comes up on this, we will bring it to you as soon as possible on StudyIQ. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. Please stay safe during the pandemic.